this barbecue smoker for $26.
And you get a 90-day.
Oh.
This brand new iPhone sold for less than $42.
Happy evening Wednesday. Our second show today. Where's everybody at? We got a lot of good stuff tonight, guys. Luckily, I'm staying up late because my Arizona game's on at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to be up watching that game. Spaz, you out there? We got a 12-minute one she came out with. So 10 first. Lucy, Mike. You just deleted your message. Oh boy, I'm going to try to get everything out tonight, whatever I can. All right, Samantha, you made it. Where you been? You decided to change it to 7 o'clock? Because I go working. I don't know what you do for a living, if you don't mind asking. You work a lot of hours. I forgot what state you were from again. Hey, there's JJ. Good to see you, JJ. So is he back home? Kay should be in. She must be eating the pizza she got today. Didn't share it with us. Okay. There's no improvement at all? Didn't you say that he's in the States? He's not in Australia? Okay. We're going to have a good, another big show again tonight. A lot of good stuff. Everything's slowly coming out. And Carol. Yep, drip. That's why I have to do 2 shows so I can stay ahead a little bit, because when Billy Bean comes out, she normally has big shows. Canada won in overtime. Oh, darn it. USA Hockey barely won tonight. They're both teams went into overtime today. Oria went to 1-4 today. Waited till 7. I was watching the USA Hockey game, then he hung on. The women's hockey plays tomorrow against Canada. That's at 1:00. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh, man. Not this time. The women's team lost to them last time. The USA lost to Canada last thing. But, yep, the men's USA got real lucky tonight. Oh, hey, Paul. Another big night tonight. My Michigan basketball team both won last night. Now the Arizona schools are on tonight. If nobody, Samantha, did you hear the show from earlier? Because the last video I played on that show was Case said was really good. So make sure everybody goes back and watch that. It was about Samantha Guthrie's mom. The news update on what's going on. Yeah, it was. Yeah. KK is not here yet. Hey, there he is, Schwaz. Yeah, I just saw she just came out with a short one tonight, 13 minutes. She was saying everything's supposed to be done when she goes back to Australia. So it's not far off. Yep. Well, they said April again for the 6th time. It's beginning a new year. Oh, well, and Sidney Crosby got hurt. He's injured, so I don't know if he'll be playing for Canada. Okay, I guess it's all time to tick-tock-toe. 10-minute mark. Hopefully Kay will be in. start off with the small videos first. Oh, I just saw your message on Telegram there, JJ. So we will do the second or the latest Q video.
Today, now local experts do your taxes with 100% accuracy.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Of the Darkness. I am Q. So one of the most important hearings is going on right now in the United States Supreme Court. For whatever reason, this is not being talked about in the mainstream media, but it is monumental. So we all know that the SAVE Act is being heavily debated. Why it's even being debated, I don't know. The question you must ask is this: if the right is fighting against passing it, and if the left is also fighting against passing it, it is 100% conclusive that your politicians, whether on the right or on the left, do not care about you. They are not working for you. We no longer have a republic, which is supposed to be a representative form of government. If 83% of the United States wants legislation that the SAVE Act is offering, which is not allowing non-citizens to vote in our elections, and two, requiring voter ID or ID in order to vote. If 83% of the country wants that, then I would have to argue that at least 80% of the Senate, or 80 votes, should be available for it. So if 83% of the country wants it, then who's representing us in the 83%? What representatives do we have? When you had to twist arms to get 50 Republicans to say, okay, fine, we'll vote for it. And then on top of that, we also have another situation where we've got John Thune saying, you know what, we might not get to it before recess. We've got so many other things we need to do. There is nothing more important than passing the SAVE Act bill right now. But then we have another situation going on with Hermeet Dillon and the Solicitor General. They are arguing at this moment with the Supreme Court against the state of Mississippi, a state that allows for votes as long as they are ballots, as long as they are postmarked by election day, that they are allowing those votes to be counted up to 5 days after election day. Now, the interesting thing is that they're asking that the Supreme Court say election day is just that, a 24-hour day. Hermeet Dillon and the Solicitor General are trying to return back to 1 day voting. You vote, one vote per person, in person, and after that, it's done. By that evening, we know who won the election. You guys remember not too long ago, that was the standard. We always went to bed election night knowing who won the election, except for that weird thing that happened down in Florida that one time. But it's important that we get these things done. Can you imagine how this country would change if we had only citizens voting in our elections, one, and number two, that they had to be vetted so we knew who they were, and then last but not least, you could only vote the day of. None of this, well, let's see what comes in. Well, we need 7,000 votes in this county, or we need 3,000 votes in this county in order to close the gap. None of it. Whatever comes in on election day comes in. And their argument is that 70% of Americans say that they would have more faith in the electoral system or in our system in general if there was one-day voting. So if we are going to return to a nation where people believe that their vote matters, we have no choice but to go to one-day voting. What say you? Are you guys in agreement? I'm praying for Hermeet Dillon and for our Solicitor General. We need this to pass through the Supreme Court. We need them to rule on our side. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, another Q video. I got a 2-minute one.
Through 2001, Howard Lutnick, our Secretary of Commerce. Watch this.
The head of Cantor Fitzgerald, Howard Lutnick, just happened to be out of the office that day that the terrorists struck. Mr. Lutnick was taking his son to his first day of kindergarten. Now he says he has a very different view of business and life. He spoke to our business correspondent, Terry Keenan, earlier today.
We are really focused on trying to make sure that our 700 families who lost a member of their family are taken care of. And so I spent the day yesterday and part of the day in talking to our insurance company. Our insurance company, CNA, told me that they would, they told our guys, they didn't tell me, and then they told me that they were willing to treat this as an accidental death, which means that they would double the policy for all of my victims upstairs and all of us, and so that added $35 million to that group upstairs.
When it comes to Jeffrey Epstein and Howard Lutnick, they had a relationship. I mean, for one thing, they were literal neighbors. There are email correspondence between the two of them in the files about getting dinner at Little St. James. Jeffrey made donations in Howard Lutnick's honor. And Lutnick hosted parties that Epstein was invited to. And when it comes to 9/11, there's very little in the Epstein files, but there's this email to Ghislaine Maxwell. Any interest in being on the Shadow Commission on 9/11, the membership list is secret. And 1 week after 9/11, a message to Ghislaine Maxwell, where is the real pilot? Is it possible that Epstein and his connections may have had something to do with 9/11? And that one reason these files might be missing is because Epstein was doing the neighborly thing and warning his friends. Or is all of this just one big coincidence? As always, I want to hear what you think.
That was an important one there. We'll play Mel here a little bit. God dang it.
This is my daughter, Rivka. Rivka is autistic, she is gifted, she is disabled, and she won her due process. A hearing officer ordered Prince William County Public Schools to fund Rivka's placement at Linder Academy, including transportation, because the district denied her a free, appropriate public education. PWCS lost. There was an order. They were required to comply, and they did until they didn't. Without an IEP meeting, without consent, without notice, without a prior written notice, I was notified last week that they have decided to cut off Rivka's transportation mid-year without any cause. So tonight, Rivka is standing here in front of you, not as a case file, not as a budget line, but as a child who wants access to school, just like every other child here in Prince William County. Here's the part that should make everyone uncomfortable. If I stop transporting my child to school mid-year without cause, the state would call that educational neglect. But when the district does the same thing by removing the transportation that makes her education accessible, there are no consequences. I am forced to file state complaints or pursue litigation simply to obtain compliance with the law. Transportation is a related service. It is not optional. And mid-year changes without cause are destabilizing for any child. For a disabled child like Rivka, they are discriminatory. Let me be honest about what this is. This is retaliation. It happened after my advocate Lassiter won in federal court in November and after I won my own due process case. And this sends a message from this board's legal counsel and district leadership. Even when families win, even when there is a legal order, the district may still choose not to comply, forcing families like mine into enforcement and litigation simply to obtain what has already been ordered. And it quietly undermines Rivka's access to education. And here's what the autism community understands immediately. Rivka is learning, she is thriving, and that is exactly what makes this so dangerous. Because this was not an accident and it was not a mistake. Rivka's transportation was cut as part of a broader legal strategy being pursued in federal court right now, and the harm falls on my daughter, Rivka. I will not sit back and take this. I'm going to pursue every legal remedy available to me because my love for my daughter is stronger than any retaliation this board is willing to go along with. So for Rivka's sake, I'm asking the public and this board to help tonight. Please email the superintendent and the Virginia Department of Education. Ask why PWCS believes it can unilaterally cut court-ordered transportation for a disabled child. Ask when Rivka's transportation will be restored so she can attend school this year. Thank you.
Very important one there.
I need to speak to you against Senate Bill 467 today. My name is Julie Barrett. I am a mother of 4 and the founder of Conservative Ladies of America. I'm speaking today as a voice for parents. We fled our home state of Washington 3 years ago after a devastating encounter with Washington's anti-parent laws. What we experienced fueled my fight to educate parents and lawmakers about policies that impact children and families. I share the intention of this bill in protecting children, but Senate Bill 467 does not protect children and it does not empower parents. Senate Bill 467 requires age verification for every user and identity verification for every parent, but it never defines what data must be collected. It doesn't tell us whether parents will be asked for a driver's license, a passport, a social security-based identity check, or even biometric scans. It doesn't limit what documentation can be required or whether third-party vendors may be used. Once that data is collected, the bill is silent on where it will be stored, how long it will be retained, who has access to it, or what security standards must be used. Requiring identity verification for everyone creates a massive pool of sensitive information, and no system is immune to breaches. Supporters say the bill protects children, but think of the App Store as the front door to a house. This bill locks the front door, but it leaves every window and the garage door wide open. Once a child downloads the app, all of the in-app dangers are still there. The senator asked about targeted advertisements and in-app dangers. All of those still exist under this policy. The only thing that has changed is that you had to provide age verifying data for both the parent and the child for the child to download the app. This bill gives parents a false sense of security. Citizens give up sensitive data and children are not protected. The bill also requires every minor to be tethered to a parent account, but it never explains how that relationship will be verified. There is no standard for proving legal custody, no process for preventing a non-parent from linking to a child, and no safeguards for vulnerable children. If the state mandates this linkage, it must also mandate verification standards, and Senate Bill 467 doesn't do that. Because the bill regulates developers as well as app stores, age verification data and parental consent signals must be transmitted downstream, including to potentially foreign developers who may not be subject to U.S. privacy laws. Parents absolutely want to protect their children online, but we should not have to hand over sensitive identity documents, enter an unregulated data collection system, or submit to continuous monitoring in order to do that. Senate Bill 467 creates obligations for family without providing protections to ensure those obligations are safe. Protecting kids does not require building a statewide identity verification system that puts families at risk. We must educate and equip parents with the tools that are available through the Apple App Store and through Google's App Store so that they can do this effectively for their children. Parents are the ultimate responsibility for protecting their children. Thank you for letting me speak today. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Okay, that was another board meeting.
I don't see anything on there.
It'll start after you start talking.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's all good. I just want to make sure I get my time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is David Medina.
1 minute.
And I'm here to speak in favor of ICE and in favor of law enforcement, in favor of the rule of law here in Portland, something that's been missing for so long. I'd like to thank the Gotham City Council for allowing me to speak today. If you guys, one of the biggest things that you guys do is you guys talk about no one's above the law. And you voted for a convicted felon. It's one of your favorite phrases that you and your comrades like to use, especially against President Trump. But then you completely ignore some of the people that ICE are taking out of our community that pose as a threat to our community. And Councilwoman Murillo, I really hope that you shed those same tears for the victims of those people on the other side of those illegal immigrants that shouldn't have been here, that committed crimes. I do share compassion for families. I do share compassion for people that are facing deportation, like the dad that was deported from his family. I share compassion on that. I'm talking about the the people that have committed crimes here that the state of Oregon and the city of Portland have refused to honor the ICE detainers on. I wonder if you shed those same tears for the victims of those people, like Leonis Ramos Garcia, who was picked up for coercion and enticement of a minor to engage in unlawful sexual activity and travel with intent to engage in illicit sexual contact. These are the kind of people that ICE are taking out of our communities. And you guys say you want to keep, you can shake your head all you want. You want to keep our communities safe. It's no wonder Portland's going downhill, because you have the Portland Trailblazers, the Portland Timbers, you have businesses leaving the city, businesses that say, please prioritize public safety. And it's no wonder that this city is going downhill, because you guys don't respect law enforcement. You hold them hostage just like you hold the rest of the city hostage. You demonize ICE, you demonize police officers in Portland. And I pray that one day, the majority of Portland that don't agree with how you guys are governing and your comrades that are attacking the ICE building down there every single night and attacking officers, not the peaceful protesters, I'm talking about the people that are attacking ICE every single night. You can laugh all you want, Gotham, but let me tell you what, this is why our city fails. Can I get my time back? Can I get my time back, please?
Pause you. I think we were at about 20 seconds here.
Thank you.
So
you guys just gave me more
I don't
time,
know
so
if you all know
appreciate
the people that are on the back end of the list, but the longer that we disrupt the people at the front, those people at the end aren't going to get time. So I understand there's going to be a lot of strong opinions here, but I'll just ask if we can, we're on the first one. There's a long list. Please feel free to signify visually, though, how you feel. And if we could get 20 seconds back on the timer, I'd like to let this.
Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys can laugh all you want, and you guys can sit up there and call me Nazi. You can call me all that kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is, there are victims from people that are here that have committed crimes that you guys are not standing against. If you guys would just at least use logic in this whole process and at least get out people that are committing crimes, but you don't want to do that because you're so radically involved with your ideology and your politics. It's insane. I pray that the people of Portland wake up one day and take their city back, because majority of us Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, we want our city to be safer again. And you can laugh at it, but laugh for the victims and cry for the victims too. Are you guys crying for the victims?
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to our next testifier. Thank you. I believe it's Lily. Thank you. I think our next testifier was Lily Larson. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Esteemed Portland City Councilors, my name is Lily Larson, L-A-R-S-E-M. I am a resident of District 4. I do not use this word lightly, but these are Nazis. Our city is being taken by Nazis. These modern day Nazis have not and will not seek permission to expand their presence in our city.
Wow. Why is she wearing a mask? That's Portland news. We'll play Mel next.
On the U.S. being the quote-unquote world police, as I've seen in my comment. And as somebody who is supposed to be on a cruise to Aruba and Curacao in 1 week, this is really stressing me out. Let's go. I spent my career at the CIA and NSA. I also advised other intelligence agencies. I now have my own corporate intelligence firm. All this opinions are my own. Analysis is my own for entertainment purposes only. Trump gave a speech yesterday talking about how he was going to build the naval fleet up, name it after himself, which I always think is quite bizarre, but whatever, you do you. And he also gave a warning to Maduro. He basically said, hey, if you're going to act tough, this is going to be the last time that you will act tough. And he also advised him strongly, in my opinion, to step down. I do not think he is giving him another option. So this could get ugly very quickly. I'll get into that. I was also looking into what was going on with that third oil tanker that we were in pursuit of, because today would be day 3 of it, and there hasn't been much reporting on it. So I was like, hey, what happened to this oil tanker that we were pursuing? I know we would have said if we seized it. And I couldn't find much on it, but I did find some stuff that's unconfirmed on Reddit from some international sources saying that Iran had deployed 2 groups of vessels, basically. One was going to South Africa to do a naval exercise, and the other was going to protect commercial vessels. The ship that we were chasing is an Iranian-linked ship. So this could get very interesting very quickly. You might want to follow along next week because you might see some interesting stuff on my cruise if I go. In addition, we have deployed a bunch of crazy firepower over there. I'm talking F-35s, CV-22 Ospreys. We've deployed our Marines. We've deployed aircraft carriers. We've deployed rescue helicopters. You name it, we've deployed our Rangers. Like, we have sent our best of the best. We have also been securing agreements across South America and the Caribbean for access, so to get ports and bases and create alliances. So things are really heating up. But I want to talk about the world police and why this is all happening. I did a video yesterday on protecting our interests, but I had a chance to read the National Security Strategy today, which came out a month ago. And sometimes our national security strategy is about protecting our interests by, promoting democracy. This national security strategy, its whole purpose was protecting the Western Hemisphere. Top priority. In protecting the Western Hemisphere, protecting it against cartels, you're protecting it against rival nations, creating a foothold in the region and having access to the United States. Venezuela is just where all of that collides. It's where the drug cartels collide. It's where this migration problem also collides. It's where Russia, China, and Iran are trying to gain this foothold. Think about it if you lived in a nice, safe area, okay, and gangs started moving in the neighborhoods right around you. Wouldn't feel so safe anymore, would it? As of December.
Okay, that's the latest one with that TikTok lady. Okay, 12 minutes with Mel.
Come on. There we go. You've got to turn that off, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Just a couple of technical issues in the background. The clock is ticking though, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see. What an amazing, amazing day it has been. Welcome to Wacky Wednesday. This is, of course, Mel. We are talking about a few things this evening, but a point of reference, of course, is the State of the Union on February the 24th. Just a point of interest. But what has been happening, of course, we all know this is, of course, the new digital age, and this is where the big digital news comes into play, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get down to some really good, strong fundamentals, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about Coinbase, one of the largest exchanges in the crypto digital assets world. They have now enabling loans. This is the debanking, ladies and gentlemen, from the banks. They're enabling loans that are backed by XRP, Cardano ADA, and of course the Dogecoin in the US. These new lending facilities are allowing customers to borrow up to $100,000 in USDC. This, of course, is on the Circle blockchain. There is your full circle, ladies and gentlemen. This is you can borrow this against your holdings in XRP. So, of course, you have to have a certain amount of holdings to borrow the one up to the 100,000. What's also,
I guess we're getting a storm, you guys. I hope my power don't go out. So if it does, I'll do my best of getting back in.
exciting is it's not just about XRP. We're talking about the Dogecoin, Cardano, and Litecoin. That's an interesting blockchain that we should be talking about over there on our digital assets as well. This is also where it got very, very interesting. I'm going to leave the article after the show, but it's talking about these loans without a taxable event or losing your market position. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's very, very cool and very exciting. This also allows investors to access the cash via the USDC stablecoin immediately. So there's no big long waiting periods and things like that as well. It is clearly based upon your holdings in XRP, the Dogecoin, Cardano, and in Litecoin. So get excited. This service is available in the US. This is where it got really interesting, except for those in New York. Wow, doesn't that just tell the story, ladies and gentlemen? But there it is. Ripple, of course, in the UK, they are also launched their stablecoin, of course, on the XRP ledger. Those of you who are in Europe and the UK, highly recommend this, having a look at this article, because this is a huge milestone for Europe. This is to signify that the Europe or euro and how it's pegged to the RLUSD pairing this is incorporating, of course, the framework and the facilities for your currency exchange rate. Listen carefully. This is to facilitate your liquidity, ladies and gentlemen, in Europe. So get very, very excited about that framework. Of course, they are operating under the MICA standards as well. So very, very excited for Ripple in UK and, of course, across Europe, launching their stablecoin on the XRP ledger. We will get into the ledgers a little bit more, but let's look at some other news before we get into a little bit of other stuff. We know that through this whole process of the revaluation, it requires peace in the world. And it was asked of me yesterday and last night about, Mel, do we require peace in the world? Well, we certainly do, ladies and gentlemen. And although we don't focus on that quite a lot, or we often don't believe it's going to happen, let's have a look and break this down. We've got Ukraine in Geneva talks with Russia. We've got China doing strategic means with India. That's going to help with the China-Taiwan situation. We just heard just a few hours ago that the US are now withdrawing all their forces from Syria. That's very exciting. Of course, the US and Iran are also in open discussions regarding their so-called nuclear deal. And, of course, the trade deals with Japan were also launched as well with the US. I believe that is your tsunami, ladies and gentlemen. That will, of course, trade deals will affect also the things on tariffs and liquidity in their currency as well. all of this all incorporates, of course, in the internal peace within all countries. It has to be internal as well as external. There is to be no disorder for this RV to happen. So please keep an eye out on those things regarding the world peace and the sovereignty of all of these nations. Now, let's move back to, of course, all of these countries have to have sovereignty, but they also have to, it's a requirement that their governments are governing their countries themselves and not having influences or outside influences from other countries. Well, governments across the world, ladies and gentlemen, are moving to social benefits and bonds and placing everything on blockchain. They have now shifted into the public finance sector and tokenizing all of the debts, and the digital universal income programs are now being released in all countries. Although the media, and including many other channels and gurus, do not talk about this, but let's have a look at the digital universal income programs that are going to be released on Sunday. This, of course, as I said, is the recalibration of a multipolar world, ladies and gentlemen. It is coordinated governance in a parallel system during the transition into a brand new world. Not just financially, ladies and gentlemen, but of course, having GESARA. Let's have a look, talking about GESARA, of course, a very big note that Argentina recently repaid all of their loans, as well as many other countries, and completing their ties with the IMF and the World Bank, signing off on Article 4. This is the proof and the signing, ladies and gentlemen, that the blockchain settlements are being executed and are fully functional. They have to balance their ledgers. That must be balanced before we can have a full-blown GCR and revaluation can occur. So understand why we focus on these articles, so as that we can fully understand that the ledger, your assets and your liabilities, must be balanced in the old system before we concur into a new system. This, of course, gives all countries sovereignty. Sovereign transactions confirm that countries are no longer controlled by their central banks and are being coordinated on a blockchain system through the quantum system. Commercial banks, public money is being flowed, of course. We need to watch for these liquidity fundings. For the full-blown GCR to occur, we must still keep an eye out, of course, on the bond markets first. The repayments for those in the CMKXs, the farm claims, the fines and penalties, their balance sheets also have to be balanced before a full-blown revaluation and a GCR. Now, that sounds like it's not still happening, but it is, because understand these outcomes that are coming out through the US Treasury, and we're going to get notifications through the US Treasury for those things such as the CMKXs are beginning to accumulate in the US Treasury. Understand these outcomes must align with all the legal authorities and the rules of law and enforced, such as the treaties based upon the sovereignty responsibilities of all of those bonds, farm claims, fines and penalties must occur before the GCR, okay? So with all of that being said, though, we all know that the transition is, of course, through the BRICS, and BRICS are moving towards an independent metal exchange. This is what people are not talking enough about. This metal exchange is gold-backed. They are exercising the pricing powers in the metal exchanges. This parallel is working in control and in the control factors of the Forex. This, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, is your currency revaluation mechanism. So he who controls or exercises the metal exchanges, that being BRICS, are in control of this currency revaluation and the mechanisms behind it. All nations, as I have said over previous weeks, all have sovereign wealth funds, and they increase their stakes not only in commodities, but in digital assets. These digital assets are being utilised, as I said, through Coinbase, as we mentioned earlier, and other crypto exchanges. Understand too that this is also proof that funds are moving. If we're having nations support their sovereign wealth funds through digital assets, which we know are being backed by gold, then this liquidity and this settlements now, ladies and gentlemen, is on the move. Hence, why I said on Sunday that there is liquidity happening in Europe. So there is your proof, ladies and gentlemen. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for some ice cream and some pudding. It is a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a good night from me. Enjoy these fundamentals. We will see you all back here on a sizzling Sunday with a Q&A. And
So Sunday was, okay, I got a 8-minute mini video.
Fitness clubs, $1 down, $15 a month. Deal ends February 27th.
20 minutes. Hey.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Trump has just entirely broken these people. It's incredibly sad to watch. Stephen Colbert's already fired. He has a zombie show on CBS. He's contractually obligated to be on the air for a couple more months, and it is becoming quite humiliating, frankly. There was a new hoax launched by Stephen Colbert against CBS, who he attacks about as much as Donald Trump. Never employ people like this, by the way. Never employ like the deeply ungrateful, villainous, venomous people like Stephen Colbert, who is losing $40 million a year, according to industry insiders. Well, he created quite a stir last night where he told his audience that the Trump administration and CBS have colluded to stop him from interviewing some eunuch who's running for Democrat Senate seat in Texas.
Who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Tallarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. Then I was told in some uncertain terms that not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on. And because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this. This doesn't just affect interviews. The rules forbid any candidate appearance, including by voice or picture. That's right. I am absolutely not allowed to show a photo of Texas State Representative James Tallarico. And
wow. What's an attack on free speech?
No.
Because that's not him. That's a stock photo we found when we Googled not James Tallarico. A couple of weeks ago, on Carr's orders, the FCC opened an investigation into ABC's The View after their James Tallarico interview. That is absolutely shocking. James Tallarico did The View before my show? At 2 will pay.
So you get the point. Like, the Trump administration has stopped me. And big corporate America is silencing me. It's like the Kimmel play right now that he's doing. And it's gotten, by the way, quite a bit of pickup, quite a bit of views. You know, like this video has done hundreds of thousands of views. James Tallarico posted this because they did the interview and then it went up on YouTube and then on X, it's seen by 9 million people, 31,000 reposts, 124,000 likes. The Late Show YouTube channel published it. It's now done almost 3 million views. The interview that Trump doesn't want you to see. It was Donald Trump working the phone lines to stop me from talking. There's only one problem. It's all fake news. None of this was real. None of this was real. All of this was fake. Stephen Colbert says CBS didn't let him air an interview out of fear of the FCC. Colbert kicked off Monday's episode saying that the network's lawyers told him he couldn't have James Tallarico on his show. But here's the only problem. It's all made up, and it's not even remotely true. All of it is a lie. Lie. Here's what happened. Stephen Colbert has been exposed by his own network. So CBS News has actually issued a statement saying that Colbert was not prohibited from broadcasting any interview. The show was provided legal guidance. The broadcast could trigger an FCC equal time rule for the two other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how equal time and other candidates could be fulfilled. Embarrassing, another lie debunked. In case you're not aware with what the equal time rule is, and this is from Brian Stelter, who, by the way, helped propagate and push this hoax. This just in from CBS. The Late Show is not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with James Tallarico. This show was provided legal guidance, simply saying that they could trigger a equal time rule. And what does this mean? This means that federally funded news networks, which shouldn't exist in the first place, but ABC, NBC, and CBS are federally funded networks. They have something called the equal time rule. The equal time rule says that you're not allowed to just simply, in a contested race, in a congressional race, or any race, like to just promote one candidate. Because you're federally funded, you have to be fair to each candidate, at the very least offer them an opportunity to speak on your network. This is something that should be enforced all the time. It is often not enforced when it comes to Republicans. But James Tallarico is running for Senate in Texas with a bunch of other Democrats who CBS says, and this is just a Democrat primary, right? Not put the Republican on, says just put Jasmine Crockett on. This is interesting. So is Colbert racist against Jasmine Crockett? This is a remarkable twist of fate. FCC equal time rule says that two other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. You could do an interview with them. You could cover the race. There's a lot of different things that you could do to say, hey, I ticked the box. Just a request. Hey, why don't you come on The Late Show? And maybe the scheduling doesn't work, but like this is how you get across this rule. You make a good faith effort to allow everyone to speak in a race so that you're not showing favoritism and using tax dollars to do that. But be rigging an election with tax dollars. Tax dollars happens all the time. Nonetheless, it's nice to see the rules applied. It's a good rule. I think it's totally good. If you're going to take federal dollars, there's always going to be a stipulation. The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing equal time options for Jasmine Crockett. Oh, what do they have against Jasmine Crockett? They think Jasmine Crockett's going to lose this seat, and so they want the candidate that they wish to win to be the one that gets the promotion. Isn't that fascinating? Racist. It's confirmed Stephen Colbert and James Tallarico lied. CBS didn't tell The Late Show they couldn't air his stupid interview. They simply offered legal guidance for how Stephen Colbert could provide equal time to other Democrat candidates, Jasmine Crockett, Colin Aldred, Emily Morgul, Michael Swanson, and so on. The FCC was never involved at any point. Tallarico and Colbert have colluded and worked together to push a false narrative and go viral to help Tallarico gain popularity instead of bothering to give other candidates equal airtime. It is a disgusting fraud. And now you're seeing James Tallarico's polling numbers go up because of it, because of this. Look at this. Try to censor James Tallarico at your own risk. Look at the interest in James Tallarico because he was banned by the Trump administration. Look at the interest. Now, that is actually rigging the system. Scumbags. Such scumbags. Oh, that's so dirty. That's how they do it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, and subscribe. If you can't wait for Stephen Colbert's show to be over with, please.
Okay, I got a second one that Kay sent me, but did you guys hear Trump speak at the black meeting there? It was really good. I'm gonna play this one lady that was there spoke out big time. So I wanna play that. Oh. Shoot.
To really bring America back to the form of greatness that it deserved. And that's exactly what he has done. My story is truly a Joseph story. This president right here, President Donald Trump, brought me from the prison pit to the White House. Only in America could there be a story like my story. And President Trump is the only president who would have had the courage to bring someone like me, someone who received a second chance, but who knows
Really good, you
more
guys, on
than
this
someone
one.
who is sit among the captives than someone who has been in captivity themselves. I did not get comfortable in my own freedom, but I went back, as Harriet Tubman said she did. She went back to draw many others into freedom. And President Trump has listened to those recommendations. There's so much more to come, because when you see me, you see a miracle. You see hope. You see second chances, and you see someone who is willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work, do the hard work to help individuals gain their freedom. President Trump did something historic in his first term. He signed the First Step Act into law. And for that, over 40,000, and that number is low, over 40,000 individuals have come home to their families early. And you know, many of those were Black Americans who had no hope. This president right here, as you look out upon this sea of Black Americans, this president hears you. This president cares for you. Don't let anyone tell you that this president right here, Donald Trump, is not for Black America, because he is. I'm standing here today as a testament to how he feels about Black Americans. There has never been a position like this. I don't know if there ever will be before, but I worked with him in his first term, and I'm proud to now officially have the title to make it happen. Let's get real with the realness. Let's get behind President Trump, who truly has turned our nation around and made us the envy of every country in the world. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, God, for recognizing and raising this man to be the leader of the free world. I love you.
What do you guys think of that one?
She's a great woman. You know, when I was looking for a
I want to see if anybody else
pardon
speaks.
czar, they gave me somebody from Harvard, somebody from Yale, somebody from Princeton, somebody from Penn, somebody from Stanford. And I said, do you know anything about it? Well,
but as a small business owner, I understand how critical support is. I understand that you have to have the right people that make the right policies for us as small business owners. So no tax on tips has been a extremely blessing for me and my business.
Hold on,
not just mine, but I know so many people across the country. I know a lot of us don't want to talk about the good part of it. We only want to share the negative, but I'm here today to tell you you've done a great
Is that the link?
Thank you for just loving on us and showing us that even in small town Hope, Arkansas, and I have got to say this, I have the best governor in the world. I don't only just call Sarah my friend, I call her my sister. And so That's why I am here today to just tell you that no tax on tips has been an amazing blessing for me. President Trump has been an amazing blessing for me. And at the end of the day, Jesus has been an amazing blessing for me. I love you guys and thank you so much because I am a youth pastor, but I will not preach on today. I love y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good job. Good job, huh? So thank you very much, Arnetta. And
What do you think? Thank God for this president.
This is another one, you guys.
I am filled, my cup runneth over. Because he allowed his constituents, his people to come to my house to interview me, to talk about the murder of my grandson. It seemed like nobody cared. I'm an advocate for murder. I marched, I rallied, I pulled out other families in the District of Columbia that had murders and did not have answers. Ooh. We marched and we rallied, and nobody heard me, Democrats.
Yeah, I sent you the
Get mad
link
at
for
me.
this channel for
Until this Republican
Big
sent
Game.
his constituents, his people out there to interview me in my home. Have you ever heard of a thing? Then they invited me twice before Congress to testify for the beautiful bill that's going to change crime in the district. If you kill somebody, okay, you take a life, you do life. Just that simple. If you do a harsh crime, you do harsh time. Just that simple. And then we need National Guard, and which we did years ago. He brought it on. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be stand up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.
What do you guys think of that one? Yeah, I sent it to Kay so she can drop it in the chat. All right, that was a wild one there. I'm gonna do Kay's mayor. Oh wait, we got to go back and do. Let's do this one real quick. 5 minutes.
But let me close this down by saying this. I guess let me say this first. And that is, when we do the reforms I'm talking about, when we accomplish together, everybody behind me here, first they got to get elected, then we work on these things, and we get your property tax relief passed. Texas is pretty much going to be the most affordable state in the United States of America. And you know what happens after that? All these Californians and New Yorkers and Illinois, they're going to be coming instead of Texas. So here's the deal. I'm governor for a reason, and I've already thought through this. And what we're going to do, we're going to stop spending the billions of dollars to build the wall on the southern border, and we're going to build a wall on the northern border, on the eastern border, on the western border.
Hey, sorry about that one, you guys. Kay just told me that's an old one. We're going to do Biddy's second one that's going to be really good. Aliens are coming.
Won't believe it. Yo, JD, show the boys that trick that you do.
8 minutes, I think.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. So the Trump family just confirmed that there are aliens and that they're real and that President Trump has a speech already prepared for the alien announcement. Okay. Let's back up the train here a little bit and talk about how President Trump has been prepping people for this for quite a while.
You want me to go back
Donald
and play
Trump has
that again?
regularly said that we have alien tech. Donald Trump's administration has regularly said that we have technology that can alter time and space. And what does that mean? This is President Trump's head of his science council saying effectively, we can alter time and space with our weapons. Donald Trump has in the Oval Office said we have technology that nobody even understands. This is an exact quote.
We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close.
So this is completely and totally critical for everyone to understand that Donald Trump is been preparing people for this. He's been saying we got tech that no one knows about. Is it alien tech? Was it given to us by aliens? I don't know, man. I'm not the one in charge, but I do know that when they black bagged Nicolas Maduro, Donald Trump was very, very proud of the fact that he used weapons that no one's ever seen before on the battlefield. First time ever that the discombobulator was used. President Trump bragging about a weapon that fried the brains of Nicolas Maduro's guards. Now, these guards for Nicolas Maduro, maybe they've been shut up now, but at least one of them had a statement that he gave to the media. And he said, yo, these guys came down, they look like space aliens. They were wearing space age tech. And I think that probably is like VR goggles, right? In order, and all the drones in order to target. 20 guys were able to kill like 300 of us. And I think still, again, that's like drone. There's a ton of drones in the sky. I think that's drone sites on target. And then the VR goggles make them look like, out of Star Wars, look like a Starship Trooper. But then they said that their brains were fried, that there was some type of sonic weapon that made them bleed from the nose, vomit blood, and then they collapse into a fetal position. And Donald Trump has called that the discombobulator. Now, this might be the first time that we've sort of seen sonic, laser, space age tech used on a battlefield. Here we go.
Unbelievable operation, but that was a smaller operation. But it was so precise, so incredible. Nobody thought a thing like that could happen. They even talk about the discombobulator because they never got a shot off. The Russian equipment didn't work. The Chinese equipment didn't work. Everyone's trying to figure out why it didn't work. Someday you're going to find out. But it didn't work. It's nice when you can fly in and not get shot at.
Okay, so what I'm saying is they've been doing the predictive programming thing. Then Barack Obama comes out and says aliens are real. He said that this weekend. And now Laura Trump, daughter-in-law of Donald Trump, got a multi-million person social media following. She goes on a popular podcast, Miranda Devine, New York Post, and says, yo, my father-in-law has a speech prepared. He told us all about it. Has a speech prepared for the alien invasion announcement or for the extraterrestrial revelation. Okay, here we go. Listen to this.
Do you think that he's about to make an announcement about UFOs? Because President Obama was just on a podcast talking about how he believes in UFOs and hinting that he saw something when he was president.
Well, I said this in my podcast too. What's funny is we've kind of asked my father-in-law about this because we're like, well, what do you know? Because Miranda, we all want to know about the UFOs, or we all want to know what's going on. And he played a little coy with us. And so that, of course, led us to believe, Eric and I were like, oh my gosh, if he won't even like fully tell us, maybe there's more to it. And then I have just heard kind of around that I think he's actually said, I think my father-in-law has actually said it, that there is some speech that he has that I guess at the right time, and I don't know when the right time is, he's going to break out and talk about, and it has to do with maybe some sort of extraterrestrial life, so to speak.
So if you pair that with what we heard this weekend from Barack Obama. Yo, the aliens are real. Actually, they're not, but actually they are. Like, his follow-up was amazing. What you're gonna get is you're gonna get a like predictive programming, priming of the pump. It seems like they've been ready for this for a long time. The most nefarious interpretation of all this is that things are going to go really, really bad, and they're going to use the alien invasion in order to create a one world government. That's the worst interpretation. That's what people have been talking about for a very long time. Operation Bluebeam. You know, you have even you even have like the clip that really creeped me out when I saw it of Ronald Reagan talking about like aliens coming down from space and them creating a one world government because of the alien announcement. I can't believe this is real, but it is. Here you go.
4747, tax-free. That's how much you'll save each year.
We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
So yeah, man, I don't know. It does seem like they are preparing us for the alien announcement. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? I mean, again, that's the most nefarious interpretation. The more innocent interpretation is that, listen, like aliens are in fact spiritual entities, that the American government has been in contact with these spiritual entities, that they have weapons, and that Trump's gonna try and do transparency, and he's gonna try and tell the American people about this. And maybe this is like Elon Musk in the administration kind of thing, right? And they like, this is why Elon is working so close with the federal government, and he wants to go to Mars, and he has that mission, and that's what's going to happen. Maybe I think that's the most generous interpretation of it. But either way, we've never heard a Trump family member go on the record saying that their father has a space alien invasion, space tech, UFO, extraterrestrial speech in the can, in the hopper, ready to go. What do you think about that? Let me know.
Yeah, playing, that was not a good one. JJ's video, a minute and a half.
This bridge. So we've been told that under this bridge there is probably the first example I've ever heard of. There it is. That is an audible anti-homeless device. Hostile architecture built in. So what they've done is installed some kind of device that is emitting a high-pitched buzzing noise, a shriek. It's really piercing. You can really, like, it's almost painful. And that's the whole fucking idea. That is the point. They want it to be painful for people who are thinking of coming and rolling out a sleeping bag or chucking a tent on the side of this bike path, as people famously did not too long ago in this very spot. They want it to be painful to do that. This noise is something completely different. I've never seen this. I've never even heard of this in any other city around the world. This is something that seems quite new and quite shocking, honestly. It's a noise that really, like, I can feel it in my legs. I've got goosebumps and sort of an unpleasant jarring sensation in my legs from this audio. It's very hard to tolerate this noise. That is precisely the point. They don't want people here. They want people out of the CBD. They want people out of the city. My skin's kind of crawling. It's a really unpleasant sensation. I don't know why the City of Perth Council or the state government or whoever it is who decided to install this think that that's the feeling you want to inspire in people walking through the city, riding through one of the main arteries along the train line.
Wow, JJ. Wow. Yeah. I got a few more short ones and go on to the next 15-minute video. Oh, wait. This is good too. Oh, I
Attorney
hope it
General
is.
dismisses questions about 2008
Some
non-prosecution
guys,
deal as
I'm
political
not
hit
positive
job while
if it's good or
survivors watch
bad.
from gallery. By senior political correspondent. February 18th, 2026. Washington, the hearing was supposed to be about transparency. Instead, it became a spectacle of loyalty.
You play this one?
Attorney General Pam Bondi on Tuesday vehemently defended President Jeffrey Epstein against Democratic questioning about the so-called Trump files thousands of pages of documents related to a 2008 non-prosecution agreement that shielded Donald Trump and numerous associates from federal prosecution for sex trafficking crime. The hearing, convened by the House Oversight Committee, collapsed into acrimony within minutes as Bondi
I can't play that one, you guys. They're showing so I had to stop it. What the heck? I got this. We'll play a 3-minute one here.
Law and order, something like that. It's still an interpretation. It was made public for me to be able to read and to acquire, put my hands on, put my eyes on, put my brain on, and for me to interpret it. So little things like that. So all these companies and all these different entities, they have to abide by the law as well. So see, there's some key things right there that you can take into your little bread basket, into your nugget basket. Law and orders matter if two people are willing to comply by them, whichever way. You can have a different opinion, ain't no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, it's who put them in place and what it's for. They'll have the ultimate say so. And the ultimate say so that everybody's watching right now, you cannot split the hair anymore. You just can't split it. It outlines a military occupation with the law of war manual, the capitulation tour, Donald Trump, all the places he went. All right, 2017, 2018, 2019. All right. Then when you look at the continuity directives, I mean, there's so much stuff, just like the most recent publication, December 2023. The most recent publication is all about Executive Order 13961, which is the Federal Mission Resilience Strategy by Donald John Trump. And the most recent, anything in the reference in the bottom of that, the most recent is a 2022 article, has nothing to do with Joe Biden. Nothing to do with it. If Joe Biden was president, see, this is where people can't separate. They hear you and they go, oh, yeah, he's from the South. He's got to be conservative. He's a Republican. He's this. Then they see that I'm a veteran and they go, oh, a veteran and conservative. And they can't separate the fact that I can separate. I could take my feelings and emotions and separate them. If Joe Biden was really president, I could show by laws and orders how he's president. But there's laws and orders in place that show he's not. All right. Are they rare? Yeah, depends on what you consider rare. That could be your opinion. But are they indifferent? Well, it depends on what you consider indifferent. Are they used all the time? No. So therefore, it sounds new to a lot of people. It sounds rare to a lot of people. It sounds indifferent to a lot of people because most people don't even know simple law as it sits. So when you hear that, naturally it does sound foreign, and naturally someone's going to go, oh my gosh, another conspiracy theorist. That's not a conspiracy. Laws and orders are not conspiracy. All right. Even if, though, let's just say I was wrong somewhere on a law or an order, something like that, it's still an interpretation. It was made public for me to be able to read and to acquire, put my hands.
Okay, that was DJ. Okay, let's listen to this one. Did we play this one yet?
Nobody gives a because what you should be talking about is
That's okay
how
with this
you are
one?
going to
14 minutes.
investigate and prosecute any that were running around on Epstein Island that you're affiliated with. But we didn't talk about that, did we? Oh, and what's the excuse? What was the excuse? Oh, if we prosecute everybody, the whole system would go down. Well, you know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like how Trump ran his campaign. Let's drain the swamp. Doesn't that sound a lot like draining the swamp? It actually is drain the swamp served up to you on a fucking silver platter. But you're not going to take it, are you? You're going to protect. You're going to protect rather than go after them and hope that everybody's happy that the Dow hit 50,000. Are you fucking out of your mind?
Is this okay, you guys?
I guess the whole drain the swamp campaign promise was another fucking bullshit lie, huh? Man, the lies are stacking up fast. I've never seen so many fucking lies appear in what, a year? It's only been a fucking year. Look at all the fucking lies.
You use a lot of profanity.
Wanted to talk to you about something else too. Then you got Pam Bondi and what's that other guy's name? Todd Blanche. Yeah, running around giving Ro Khanna and Massey all this shit because they accidentally put two names that are apparently innocent, out that were in the Epstein files. Well, I got fucking news for you. You know, you have two guys that are in Congress that are actually doing.
All right, yeah, I never play him. So we'll get some other ones here. I'm going to do some short ones again.
America with an investigation that uncovered a massive diversion of federal funds in California that was distributed and reallocated to several other states controlled by Democrats, a kind of slush fund used to finance campaigns in state governments. I am Fernanda Perez, and I'm going to tell you what no one has had the courage to say until now. The FBI is now following the money trail and has found illegal funding in Minnesota to help elect Tim Walz's protege, and the current governor of Minnesota may join Gavin Newsom in jail. Amy Klobuchar received illegal funds from resources sent by Newsom's government, which was trying to elect Democrats in state governments with stolen money so that later in 2027, they could win the presidency of the United States through theft, just like they did in 2020 when Democrats used votes even from people who died 2 decades ago to defeat Donald Trump. Because all these Democratic Party politicians know how to do is steal public money. What they discovered about the billions missing from California shows it was also used to buy elections. They created a mega fund with public money to finance the Democrats' spree, bought the media, and hired Hollywood actors, paying millionaire fees to defend the corrupt Democrats. The question now is, Attorney General Pam Bondi has a lot of work to do and a lot of Democrats to put in jail. And this year, we may see many of them entering a federal penitentiary. And if you hope to see these bandits caged as much as I do, don't forget to follow me because this day will go down in United States history.
2 more.
Paying $100 million to Hollywood actors to speak well of his administration and cover up corruption scandals that could send top Democrats to jail. I am Fernanda Perez, and what they have discovered once again is a bombshell that Newsom and Nancy Pelosi cannot cover up. Newsom's administration spent $100 million to finance pro-government propaganda in California to hide numerous irregularities, even resorting to hiring Hollywood celebrities such as actor Mark Ruffalo, who received $11 million through a state contract with Newsom's administration. But the FBI is closing in here in California. Newsom has decided to unleash all hell, offering millions to attack even the FBI. Yes, Gavin Newsom is using using public money to attack the FBI and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who has a case prepared that could send Newsom and his mafia to prison. Even knowing all this, do you believe Newsom will end up in jail? The evidence against this mafia of corrupt Democrats in California is crystal clear. And if this were a serious state, Newsom and these crooks would already be in jail. And if you want to see this group wearing orange prison jumpsuits, don't forget to follow me, because the situation for the biggest corrupt man in California's history just got even more interesting. Gavin Newsom has been caught again, paying $100.
Yeah, I played those ones already. So let's do. Four minutes. The mask guy.
Begin transmission. Greetings. We are Anonymous, also known as the Collective. Today's date is Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. This is a message to every American citizen. Following the Liberty County, Georgia corruption broadcast, we have been contacted by an overwhelming number of citizens from across the United States. The stories are consistent. The locations differ, but the pattern remains the same. Corruption is no longer isolated. It is systemic. Reports describe misconduct thriving inside the very institutions meant to defend justice. Courtrooms where procedure replaces truth. Proceedings where outcomes appear predetermined. Filings ignored. Evidence buried. Rights delayed until they effectively no longer exist. The judiciary, entrusted as the neutral guardian of law, is being accused nationwide of operating as a protected network rather than an accountable branch of government. In many counties, citizens report that complaints against officials circle back to the same offices being accused. Law enforcement is not exempt. In numerous accounts, agencies tasked with investigation refuse to investigate. Oversight becomes self-oversight. Accountability becomes internal review. The last constitutional safeguard, the elected sheriff, in some jurisdictions is alleged to have joined the same closed loop of protection. A republic cannot function when every door leads back to the same room. The Constitution does not enforce itself. Paper cannot defend you. Only an informed population can. Call to action: document everything. Record interactions legally. File public records requests. Attend county meetings. Demand transparency in budgets, case assignments, and recusals. Support local journalists and independent auditors. Organize peacefully within your communities. Refuse intimidation through procedure. Expose patterns, not just incidents. Corruption survives in darkness but collapses under collective attention. A single complaint is dismissed. Thousands form evidence. You are not powerless unless you remain silent. We are not calling for violence. We are calling for visibility. Lawful oversight by the people is not rebellion. It is the foundation of a republic. A message to President Trump. Sir, since it is becoming commonly known that the republic is being restored, more than politicians and elites are operating out of fear. The people of America are being victimized by local systems which by all accounts operate outside constitutional boundaries. We request immediate intervention, on a county-by-county basis, till the protections promised to the people exist not only in federal principle but in local reality. Thank you. The era of isolated victims is ending. The era of documented patterns has begun. Your eyes, ears, and proactive approaches are needed to fully restore our republic. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. End transmission.
Okay, the mask guy. So the next 6 videos, I got 6-minute videos. And then I'm going to finish off with a 15-minute a 15-minute Doug video. We'll see how the time is from that. Yeah, we got the first 6-minute one. Did we play this one yet?
Work. And Hollywood's a cult core. She didn't just visit the island. She
Well,
dragged Epstein's
actually,
inner
this is
circle into the
16,
abyss,
guys, if you wanna watch the
initiating
whole thing.
them into the ritual consumption of human flesh as an ancient blood-drenched sacrament. Fresh, unredacted 2026 Epstein file dumps deliver the gut punch confirmation. Ellen ate her ex-partner Anne Heche, piece by cursed piece, after the actress was eliminated in that blatantly suspicious car crash, while she was closing in on the Hollywood child trafficking
this one,
pipelines.
JJ?
Investigators now confirm that after the accident, Ellen pulled strings to claim Anne's body, locked it in her mansion freezer like unholy relics, and consumed her former lover in slow, deliberate occult ceremonies over the years. This is not some twisted modern fetish. This is primordial evil, clawing its way back, hidden behind red carpets, charity galas, and morning show smiles. We're teetering on the edge of the abyss. One more silence, one more cover-up, and this ancient evil devours everything. Our world, our children, our future. Don't move. This is our final warning. Before we dive in, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join the People's Voice Locals community to join our incredible community, support the channel, and gain access to exclusive and uncensored content. Jeffrey Epstein's Hollywood elite circle has been exposed as outright cannibals. Not fringe rumors anymore. Hard evidence is surfacing from the 2026 Epstein file dumps. Millions of DOJ pages packed with jerky as code for human flesh, baby parts in freezers, yacht dismemberment rituals, and eyewitness accounts of elites eating infant remains like it's a sacrament. Here is Epstein and Woody Allen, casually chatting about devouring children's hearts and crunching bones like it's dinner talk. Hollywood's elite menu gets darker with every file drop. And for those willing to dig, it's all laid out in black and white. The smiling face repeatedly tied to it all? Ellen DeGeneres, the warm, relatable host who greeted millions every day while orchestrating Hollywood's darkest supply chain. For the elites, who've been hiding their vice in plain sight for years.
Yes, we do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes only. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it.
Babies. Ooh, I love babies. Oh yeah, they love on these. It's crazy. I mean, I do too though, because I have an iron deficiency, so it shit tastes good. Like, do you guys like the taste of blood? Do you? Does anyone here like the taste of blood? Because I like it.
I eat children. How old are you? 12. Oh, okay. Only to 10.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Children and pineapple.
No one can seem to agree on anything anymore except for two things.
And us.
And us.
My name is Roy, and for the most evil invention in the world contest, I invented a chop robot.
Epstein file investigators name Ellen as the bridge linking Epstein's island network to LA's trafficking networks, blood drinking ceremonies, and cannibal feasts. And one person who was determined to expose the truth for years was Ellen's ex, Anne Heche. Before she was executed on live television, she found the links between fame, power, and the ancient dynasties who still pull the strings from the shadows. When she drew too close to the truth, they silenced her permanently.
Ambulance. That's some sort of sign, but yes. So basically, the activity that we were looking for, that anxious or that quick moving, that was going on the other side of the vehicle. Oh my gosh, he's completely alive.
Anne Heche was investigating a cabal of power brokers who used fame, money, and children's lives as currency. At the center of her investigation was her former partner, Ellen DeGeneres, the talk show queen with $1 billion brand and a smile that hid a monster.
This is what I say. Goodbye. Watch out. You're fucked.
Anne had the evidence. She confronted Ellen.
Admit it.
And months later, she was gone.
While out and about in Santa Barbara, the former daytime talk show host gave a brief comment on the actress, whom she dated from 1997 to 2000.
Have you spoken to Anne Hesh at all since her accident?
Have not.
Do you want to...
We're not in touch with each other, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's quite a dangerous accident that happened, wasn't it?
Sure was.
What Anne uncovered was never just about Hollywood. It was bigger, much bigger. And she had help from a number of Hollywood stars, including, we now have permission to reveal, Elijah Wood.
The former child star alleges that pedophilia has been a real issue in Hollywood. He tells the publication, quote, "There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. What bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power. That's the tragedy of attempting to reveal what is happening to innocent people. They can be squashed, but their lives have been irreparably damaged." The 35-year-old adds, "If you're innocent, you have very little knowledge of the world and you want to succeed. People with parasitic interests will see you as their prey."
I can get a good career doing this. You know, it's going to be good.
Anne had another whistleblower in her corner, a former Hollywood child star who'd been deep in the machine since childhood. He wasn't guessing. He'd been to the parties, the locked door after hours, seen the rituals and deals that keep the glamour running on pure darkness. He gave Anne a deposition so raw, it could have scorched her Lake Arrowhead cabin walls. Names you know, Oscar winners, A-listers, icons, all tangled in an evil that's been shielded for decades. Now he's going on record. He's about to unload the full unfiltered horror of what Anne endured at Ellen's hands. The blood rituals, the hidden restaurants, the surgical gifts, the freezer, the complete menu that turned love into consumption. Straight from somebody who lived it. Hollywood's darkest open secret. Anne Heche knew the risks all too well. She understood that exposing the full truth about Hollywood, the depraved practices of its most powerful figures, would ruin her. They'd paint her as unstable, desperate, and if she kept talking, they'd whack her. But now, in 2026, people are finally ready to hear the truth, or at least starting to be. The Epstein files have turned the whispers into conversations that can no longer be suppressed. And Anne's documentary, Children of the Machine, is still coming. Her former colleague, the former child star who worked alongside her, digging into the same darkness, is part of the underground team keeping the project alive. They're finishing it. They're getting it out. Anne didn't endure what she did and die in that crash for nothing. What you're about to hear from him is brutal. It's raw, it's deeply disturbing, and it's not for the faint of heart. This is part of her story she carried alone for too long. If you can stomach it, listen. And believe the darkest truths are the ones that finally set people free.
She ate her. Ellen straight up ate Anne Heche, piece by fucking piece, over years, like it was nothing. That's the sick love story behind the perfect couple everyone cheered for back in the 90s. Look, I'm not here doing some dramatic speech. I'm just a guy who used to be that kid on TV, the one from those cheesy family shows back in the day, smiling through whatever bullshit was going on behind the scenes. I got out, mostly, but I never really left. Not when Anne needed someone who understood the machine. We were working together on this documentary, Children of the Machine, and it was her baby, exposing the child trafficking, the abuse rings, how the big names protect their own. I was helping, digging with her, putting pieces together. After she died in that crash, the one the whole world watched explode on screen, we didn't stop. The team's still underground, finishing it, making sure it drops no matter what. She didn't go through hell for nothing. We'll get it out there. But man, what really fucks me up, what keeps me awake shaking, is what happened to her before they took her out. That crash wasn't random. It was a hit to shut her up. And the poison started way before, in her relationship with Ellen. They were the it couple, the lesbian power duo on every cover. Looked perfect, wasn't. Ellen pulled her into the dark shit, the real Hollywood underbelly. Cannibalism, I'm not kidding. Ellen was obsessed, talking about it like it was normal, like the ultimate high. It's how we connect, she'd say. You give a part of
4
yourself,
minutes.
I take it in. She started small, biting Anne's lip at first, leaving her bruised and bloody. But it made Anne feel wanted, and she insisted to friends it was romantic. Then Ellen started pushing Anne to let her drink her blood. Ritual purposes only, she said. But it became uncomfortable for Anne when she started passing out because she'd lost too much blood. Oh God, then Ellen was demanding to cut off bits of Anne's body. Nothing vital, she'd promise. Skin, maybe a finger chunk. In their bed, blood everywhere. Ellen acting like it was the most intimate thing ever. Anne told me about it one night, crying so hard she could barely get the words out. She'd clean the cuts with her tongue, tell me I tasted like forever. I felt like I was being erased. Then it ramped up. Ellen took her to this hidden spot, some exclusive place where the elite get served human meat like it's sushi. Everyone's in on it, she'd whisper. Producers, actors, they do it to stay sharp, stay in the circle. Anne tried to push back, wanted to know where the meat came from, but Ellen wore her down, made it sound like she was the weird one for saying no. The kidney, Jesus. Ellen talked her into surgery. Remove one, you can live without it, right? Then she ate it, in some creepy ritual at home. Anne said she just sat there numb while Ellen went at it, raw, moaning like a savage. Now you're part of me, Ellen told her. Anne threw up for days after. That's when she snapped. She couldn't do the crazy anymore. The bloodlust, the endless hunger. They broke up and shit hit the fan. Hard fights, threats, all of it. But even death didn't stop Ellen. Word in the industry, whispers everyone hears but nobody says out loud. Ellen got Anne's body after the crash. Pulled strings,
2 minutes.
paid people off. Whatever it takes. Had her frozen in that big house. Carved up slow. Ate her over years. Revenge, obsession, who the hell knows? Just eating her ex like takeout. And she didn't keep it to herself. Those dumplings she makes, the ones she hands out at parties, or used to give to fans on the show. Here, try my special recipe. Yeah, bits of Anne in there. People eating, laughing, thanking her. No clue they're chewing on a dead woman. It's an open secret. People in the know just look away because that's how it works here. Complicit or scared silent. I'm done staying quiet. This hurts like hell to say, but Anne deserves the truth out. The trafficking, the rituals, it's all tied together. Children of the Machine is going to rip it open. Stay tuned.
Children of the Machine is coming soon, very soon. This is the documentary that cost Anne her life. The one exposing the child trafficking networks, ritual abuses, and elite corruption rotting Hollywood from the inside. Major revelations are on the way. Names, evidence, connections the powerful never wanted public. The underground team has kept it alive piece by piece, and they're finalizing it with us now. No more delays, no more silencing. Subscribe to my
Wow, I thought that was an important one to play. So I got 3 of the TikTok ladies, 6 minutes. I believe they're new ones. And then I'm going to finish off with the 15-minute Doug video. Starting to get tired. I guess maybe one long show. I don't know. See how tomorrow goes.
Can't even find on a map. And now we're supposed to clutch our pearls over Trump's Ukraine posture? I mean, this is the political equivalent of setting off the smoke alarm while your own kitchen is on fire. Just another Democrat pointing across the aisle yelling corrupt while hoping no one remembers the receipts. President Trump weighed in on the Democrats' performance in Munich. Here's what he had to say.
I watched AOC answering questions in Munich. This was not a good look for the United States.
I watched Gavin
I
Newsom
thought it
answering
was a Ford
questions
one.
for
Thank you.
in Munich, and this was a bad look for our country. This was a bad. These two people are incompetent, and at least Hillary's competent. She's just Trump deranged.
Another startling scene in Munich was a women's rights panel featuring Tim McBride, who now goes by Sarah McBride, alongside Hillary Clinton. Yeah, a women's rights panel. The joke literally writes itself. After decades of glass ceiling speeches, future is female slogans, and empowerment summits, now we're supposed to applaud while the category itself gets a software update?
There is no question in the United States that after decades of historic progress on gender equality writ large, and specifically more recently on LGBTQ rights, that we are facing, as you mentioned, a well-organized, well-funded, right-wing regressive movement.
Regressive movement? No. What's regressive is telling women that after fighting for decades for
This
equal
one might
opportunity,
be-
their spaces, titles, and
It says
achievements
6
are now up
hours.
for reinterpretation. What's regressive is pretending biology is optional when it comes to competition
hours
and then
ago.
calling women bigots for noticing the obvious. What's regressive is watching female athletes train their entire lives only to lose podium spots and scholarships and then being told that fairness is hate speech. What's regressive is silencing mothers who raise concerns
Some
about
people
locker
might
rooms
not
and
see that.
privacy as if protecting their daughters is some extremist position. And the ultimate irony? Calling this historic progress while redefining womanhood so broadly that women no longer control the category? You can believe in equal rights for everyone, but you cannot call it empowerment when women are told to sit down, be quiet, and applaud as their own spaces are relabeled. This is the Democrat war on women 2.0. And speaking of bold rebranding efforts, Hillary Clinton is lighting up the internet after making a bold-faced claim during an interview with the BBC. This is a total lie. She now says she and Bill have no links to Jeffrey Epstein. No links, none. Totally unrelated. Just two ships passing in the night repeatedly on a private jet.
Do you regret the links that there have been? You know, we have no links. We have a very clear record that we've been willing to talk about, which
Oh my
husband
God.
has said. He took some rides on the airplane for his charitable work. I don't recall ever meeting him.
Did you ever meet Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did on a
More
few
lies.
occasions, and thousands of people go to the Clinton Global Initiative. So it to me is not something that is really at the heart of what this matter is about. They are accused, and in both cases were convicted of horrific crimes against girls and women. That should be the focus.
So now we're calling flights on Epstein's plane charitable work? Got it. So it's like Meals on Wheels, but at 40,000 feet?
What was your reaction when you saw some of the material that has been released? I'm thinking, for example, of images of your husband apparently in a hot tub in a swimming pool on Epstein's plane. What was your reaction to that? And do you know the context surrounding some of those images?
Absolutely. And it wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable
Yeah,
work
Carol.
that my husband has done,
I don't know
saving
why she's
literally
smiling.
millions of lives around the world.
Apparently just say philanthropic enough times and suddenly those flight logs vanish. And when I think saving millions of lives, the first image that comes to mind, totally a hot tub and a billionaire's jet. Totally standard nonprofit behavior. But here's the problem with that spin. Paperwork exists. Because while we're being told there were no links, records show Epstein visited the White House at least 17 times during Bill's presidency. So before we rewrite history as a charity brochure, let's look at the facts she'd rather you not revisit. Court records indicate Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's Lolita Express at least 26 times. Multiple trips included stops on Little St. James Island, Epstein's infamous pedophile playground. Virginia Giuffre, an Epstein victim, stated under oath that Bill Clinton was on the island and part of the scene, although she didn't accuse him of any wrongdoing. But sure, no links. And we've all seen the photos. Bill Clinton with Epstein at various events, wildly published, never disputed. We also know Maxwell was a guest at Chelsea Clinton's wedding and moved in the same elite circles, but we're supposed to believe Hillary only met her a few times. You don't invite somebody to your daughter's wedding because you bumped into them twice at brunch. Call it what you want. Charitable work, philanthropy, a few casual meetings, but the paper trail tells a very different story. You can laugh, you can roll your eyes, Hillary, you can call it spin, but facts don't care about convenient phrasing. Because when flights, photos, court records, and wedding guest lists all point in the same direction, the narrative collapses under its own weight. And this story is just getting started. Hillary and Bill Clinton, they're scheduled to testify before Congress later this month. Hillary on February 26th and Bill on February 27th in depositions related to the Epstein investigation. We'll see if they attempt to spin a web of lies, or maybe they'll just plead the fifth. That does it for us today. If you missed my video the other day, Pam Bondi.
When are they ever going to tell the truth? This is the second one.
How the priority is a European press tour? Maybe refill those fire hydrants before you refill your frequent flyer miles. I mean, why is he in Germany playing global statesman instead of standing in neighborhoods that are still trying to rebuild? Californians didn't elect a travel influencer. They elected a governor. And lecturing about stability while your own state looks like a case study in mismanagement? It's not a good look. Here's U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, responding to all of this madness.
I was really surprised that both of them didn't have better answers or at least better preparation. These are the kinds of things that every single day, I am out here advancing President Trump's clear-eyed, realistic vision of where America's place in the world is. And there was no offer of a counter to that. I mean, I think it's really quite obvious that the left really does not have an answer for President Trump's very clear articulation and success on the international stage.
One more 6 minutes.
Under Trump, America projects strength again. Adversaries think twice, and allies know exactly where we stand. Unfortunately, the left thinks that's a radical concept. Now, the real highlight of this event was watching Hillary Clinton take her Trump equals Putin routine on the road, only to get politely but firmly checked by a Czechoslovakian politician suggesting maybe, just maybe, what's happening in America is a reaction to policies that went way too far to the left.
None of us in this room, including all of us on this panel, would choose to live under a regime that was so unaccountable that it could act with impunity the way that Putin does, except that's who Trump is modeling himself.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
That is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it.
I think Trump is doing in America. I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far.
He's absolutely right. It is a reaction. It's a reaction to years of policies that many Americans feel were pushed too far, too fast, without listening to the people that are footing the bill. It's a reaction to a border crisis that voters believe wasn't taken seriously enough. It's a reaction to Democrats no longer being able to define what a woman is or admit men can't get pregnant. It's a reaction to parents feeling cut out of conversations about their own kids' education as well as healthcare. It's a reaction to women who are worried about fairness in sports. Now, you can agree or disagree with how Trump responds. That's fair. But saying that slamming the brakes on these policies is somehow the work of a dictator, that's not an honest argument. And either is this.
The Trump administration's position toward Ukraine is disgraceful. I think the effort to force Ukraine into a surrender deal with Putin is shameful. I think the effort that Putin and Trump are making to profit off the misery and death of the Ukrainian people is a historic error and corrupt to the nth degree.
That's rich coming from Hillary Clinton. Because if we're suddenly experts on profiting and foreign entanglements, well, we might want to rewind the tape a decade or so back to when CNN still occasionally practiced journalism instead of performance art. They reported this little inconvenient detail.
There's no question the Clinton Foundation has received tens of millions of dollars from foreign governments. That includes Saudi Arabia, which gave $14.5 million. Well, the foundation says none of that came while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. But you also have Kuwait donating between $5 and $10 million, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, all donating between $1 and $5 million over the years. Even the Embassy of Algeria donated $500,000. Is there a common thread? All, of course, are Middle Eastern countries with poor human rights records.
A homeless.
Last one is under 6 minutes, and then the last video will be Doug 15-minute one. Ah. Wait a minute. Dang it. Gotta be this one. Ah. Hang on a second. No. Okay, I believe this is the last one here.
Turning what was supposed to be a press stop in Munich, Germany, into a full-on comedy sketch.
You know, I think that this is such a, I think that.
You have my email?
This is a.
Oh, you have got to watch the full
You wanna
answer.
put
Let's
your
just say she's
contact
giving Kamala
number
Harris a serious
on
run for her
email?
money in the World Salad Olympics. Gold medal material, folks. And new today, AOC makes a shocking confession about her Munich appearance. This is going to stun you. Then there's Gavin Newsom. Apparently Davos didn't teach him anything. He decided to hop back on the world stage and bash our president once again.
Donald Trump is doubling down on stupid. California has been a leader in climate policy going back to Ronald Reagan.
Somebody please tell Gavin Newsom that climate change isn't the problem. Empty fire hydrants are. Maybe he should try putting out a few fires before lecturing the world. And just when you think the cringeometer has hit maximum overload, Hillary Clinton sits down with the BBC and blatantly lies about her husband's adventures with Jeffrey Epstein. At one point, she actually laughs when she's asked about Bill in a hot tub with a young lady. And all those flights on the infamous Lolita Express, oh, wait till you hear that excuse. You've got to see this one to believe it. Share it with your friends, forward it to your relatives, and subscribe if you're new here. Welcome. Let's start with Boston University grad and frontrunner of the Democrat Party, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's giving Kamala Harris some serious competition for most embarrassing international performance. And yes, that is a competition now. It's the Democrat Party. At the Munich Security Conference, she tried to school the world on geopolitics and instead flunked Geography 101. Watch this.
You know, we look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a it is not a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation below the equator.
Below the equator. That is bold. I mean, geography teachers everywhere, they just pulled a hamstring over this. I mean, what's next? Canada's in the Caribbean? Antarctica is a swing state? Well, then came the Taiwan question, a straightforward yes or no moment about defending an ally and she delivered a masterclass in competitive stalling. It was less commander-in-chief and more class presentation I forgot was today.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is of course a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
I don't know about you, but I love this woman just the way she is. And I really hope she's the Democrat presidential nominee in 2028. I mean, seriously, can you imagine her debating JD Vance? Something tells me Vance would knock her out in the first round. But if she's asked to give profound life advice, well, then maybe, just maybe, she'd make it to round 2.
I think what we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West, we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes.
Nope, I was wrong. Round 1 it is. What in the Blue Book exam was that? That wasn't a sentence. That was like a graduate seminar fighting for its life. And the only word that actually stuck the landing? Hypocrisy, which is rich because coming from a bartender to foreign policy philosopher overnight, she's the one lecturing the West about moral clarity. That's a paradox all by itself. And here's the kicker in all of this. AOC just confessed that she spent months prepping for this overseas trip. Months. And still froze on stage when asked if America should defend Taiwan. She also confused the Trans-Pacific Partnership with the Transatlantic Partnership, claimed Venezuela sits below the border. All this prep, courtesy of Bernie Sanders' former foreign policy advisor, Matt Duss, and we get geography fails and blank stares on international TV.
Yep, Carol.
That's the left. And then there's Gavin Newsom, who apparently decided the best way to help Californians is to hop on a plane and workshop anti-Trump material overseas.
I hope, if there's nothing else I can communicate today, Donald Trump is temporary. He'll be gone in 3 years. California is a stable and reliable partner in this space. And it's important for folks to understand the temporary nature of this current administration in relationship to the issue of climate change and climate policy.
Okay. Our last one will be Doug, 15 minutes.
Unique situation and every dollar you deserve. So hand off your taxes to a local TurboTax expert today. I gifted my husband these pants and now he wears them everywhere. Meet Mesh Irons, the most flat.
Oh, yes, my people. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm Doug TeNapel. I'm the creator of Earthworm Jim, The Neverhood Cat Scratch, a bunch of cartoons where I have had the most creative fun of my life until I started doing these politics as part of my artistic expression, which I started back in late 2020. I've been doing this for years now and having a lot of fun. Biggest thing is I started over, a lot of it came from the election integrity stuff when Trump lost in 2020. And people said, hey, did he really lose? What's up with the votes? So that's the news that's coming out now. The news, the mainstream media tried to bury. And I have told my audience, I am neutral on this because of the lack of hard evidence and hard facts that I've found on it. Now, people mishear that. They go, oh, that means he doesn't believe. No, you literally aren't listening to me. For all I know, Trump did win the 2020 election, but I'm also open to many different ways that was done. How was it done to Trump? I tend to lean with Victor Davis Hanson in that that I believe it was more traditional methods were used against him, like using the Supreme Court or the courts to extend the votes to be beyond voter day, not having signature matching, like common corruption, not machines in other countries. Trump just brought up machines in other countries. And so I'm thrilled to bring this to you. Welcome. Let's watch this together. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to continue these kind of discussions. Our sole goal is for Trump to win, Republicans to win in 2026 so Trump doesn't get impeached, and then for J.D. Vance to win in 2028. Here's the first piece. This was posted on Donald Trump's Truth Social app. This is the video clip of the lady saying that they're taping up and blocking windows so that the overseers can't watch the election in 2020.
Trump. Oh, I'm from downriver. Okay. I'm here because of the 38,000 ballots that arrived here at 3:45 a.m. that are just now sitting over there and getting counted, supposedly. Okay. And that's why I arrived. Okay. To an eye-opening of hypocrisy. Let me tell you. Something I want you to see.
Okay, so this is an overseer. She had posted this, that she came to check why are there 38,000 ballots dropped in and being counted right now, and they're going to kick these overseers out so that they can't oversee the election.
They're taping up the windows. Security's taping up the windows so that people who are challenging cannot see in here, and we can't see out. So it's an interesting development.
I began observing the process of ballots at several counting boards. I quickly noticed that none, and I mean none, of the names were being scanned from the ballots were in the electronic poll books. All of the names that were found in the supplemental sheets. We know that the poll books, the electronic poll books, were updated on Sunday, November 1st.
So Trump is getting at, they're going to try to do some kind of a dump of news. Some have said during his State of the Union address, and the Democrats are trying to shut down the government to keep from giving you the State of the Union address. This has to do with the SAVE Act, the SAVE Act, that the Democrats are trying to keep it from being a law that you have to show an ID to vote. And if that goes through, and we're going to show you clips from Senator Thune, all the process of this, if that goes through, if you don't get a demand for an identification before you vote in America, America's over. Okay, so we're about to save America right now this year, starting this week, according to Thune. And I'll give you that. But first, we're going to hear from Laura Trump, just kind of giving an overview of why it's important.
If we don't know that we can trust our elections, then we really can't call ourselves the United States of America. If there's any room for any funny business, then people are never going to trust the process of voting. And that is foundational to who we are as Americans. And so, yeah, I think it is crazy that anyone would not be fully championing this. And you do have to ask yourself, from the perspective of the Democrats, why is it that if 71% of their voters believe that you should have to have an ID to go vote, to prove you are who you say you are, that you are of legal age and status to vote, and you can go vote in our elections, you're a legal United States citizen, the only thing I can think of is that you have nefarious intent. And I think everybody at this point, Miranda, knows that. And it's completely ridiculous.
We all know that. The Democrats, of course, want to cheat. And even Democrat voters who are for forcing a vote ID before you can vote, they'll still vote for Democrats even though they cheat. Okay. Now, advanced strategy coming up, because here's John Thune. I think John Thune really exposes everything, including his own weakness here. But just so you can see, we're going to go into a lot of the kind of back room, how it all works, why a filibuster, what it means to change the rules and be able to vote on this thing. Here's Thune.
Right. Well, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it. And we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action.
Okay, I'm going to stop him right here. This made me angry. I'll put it that way. They're saying, why wouldn't you do a filibuster? And Thune tells you, the American voter, this guy, who I have a lot of respect for, I love my leadership, go John Thune, I'm rooting for you. But this is why I think you're kind of scummy and kind of dumb. What did you just now say? What's going to happen is when they do a filibuster, right, because they're trying to pressure the Democrats into a vote. So they're going to have a standing filibuster where they present, both sides present their arguments, and it can last for I think the record's like a 60-day filibuster, where for the time that the session was open, someone got up there, stood and talked for 60 days straight. And their goal is to pressure the other side to agree to take a vote that would be a simple majority instead of a supermajority, which has to happen if you don't have a filibuster. You go, oh, now it's a supermajority. So, and the SAVE Act won't pass without a simple majority of 51 votes or a 50-50 tie, and J.D. Vance breaks the tie. Okay? So that's the math on it. Now, what bugs me about Thune is, as I've said before, and I will continue to demonstrate in this episode, if the SAVE Act doesn't pass, you don't have a country. So the first thing Thune goes is, well, we can't just clear the slate and take up 60 days of Senate chamber debate because we won't be able to debate the housing bill. John Thune, you're going to lose your country if you don't pass the SAVE Act and you're worried about not being able to bring a housing bill to the floor. I'm furious. Are you guys mad? Let me know in the chat. Did you catch that? He's not just playing in the wrong sport. He's in the wrong coliseum. You're on the wrong planet, son. These are the things he's going, oh, my constituents, they want to bring in these other, these bills, important reforms on housing instead of the SAVE Act. Listen.
To waiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions, there are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate. And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and whether they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of. So we will have those discussions.
I don't care what your excuses are. Filibuster, get on it. Force a vote on the SAVE Act, or you don't understand. That's Loudermilk next to him, too, on the right. You guys are hacks and losers. Can't believe it.
But that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time.
Oh, yeah, it ties up the floor, guys. That's what he's worried about. The filibuster to get the vote on the SAVE Act is tying up the floor for a lot of time. And we've got important work to do. The Farm Aid bill. You're going to lose your country, John Thune. If the Farm Aid bill burned up and went to hell tomorrow and no one ever saw it again, you'd still have a country. You lose the SAVE Act, your job is done. I'll explain it in a minute.
With not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
All right, rather we had the Senate Majority Leader and the Speaker of the House speaking at the same time. That's why we're...
Yeah, this is why people hate politicians and hate politics. I'm so angry. In fact, I'm so angry. I'm going to have to do a chapter ad read to calm me down, the sponsors of this show. There's the chapter phone number. If you guys are old enough, if you're turning 65 and you want help with Medicare, Medicare is a very complicated, convoluted idea. I'm ignorant of all things Medicare, and that's why I want you to call my friends at Chapter to help you navigate your Medicare. If you're 64 and you're about to turn 65, I'd get on their waiting list. I'd get on their call. Call this number. This is the number they gave for just the Doug in Exile people, and expedite service to you. Call 631-961-8696. My friends at Chapter, guys, they really are my friends. They have saved this audience, my audience, $1 million last quarter. That's why they're my buddies. I trust them. You can trust them. They treat you like a human being. Everyone who's called them, you guys write me in the chat all the time. I'm so glad I called Chapter, Doug. I saved $3,000 a year. You guys tell me all the time. You can buy a lot of banjos with $3,000. You can buy a lot of microwaves with $3,000. I like helping save you money. Call the number. It's the pinned comment. It's in the description, 631-961-8696, and tell them Doug in Exile sent you. So now this is commentary from Donald Trump.
Election systems across the country are...
Donald Trump, you guys aren't going to believe this. This is from his Truth Social post. He posted this video on Truth Social. It's giving you some hints of what's coming about election integrity and that votes were stolen and votes were moved in 2020. And we might be getting some hard evidence finally.
Are found to have deleted millions of votes cast for President Trump. According to an unaudited analysis of data obtained from Edison Research, states using Dominion voting systems may have switched as many as 435,000 votes from President Trump.
Okay, now we're doing the Dominion thing again. So I've been covering this for 4 years. I have my doubts. I'm waiting for the hard evidence. We all saw that vote. See that flip there in the middle of the night? That's where Trump went from ahead to Biden. They dumped all these votes in. Trump's votes disappeared, Biden's went up. There was no explanation for it that ever satisfied me for why. People keep telling me why. Oh, voters, mail-in votes came in the middle of the night. Okay. I don't buy it. I'm not just looking for my preferred answer, though. So I'm still open to more results. Now here's Dan Bongino posting this Trump truth. Are you ready for this? I'm building a case here, guys. Trump wrote, crooked elections cannot be allowed in the U.S., says the president. He's posting The Storm Has Arrived, which is Dan Bongino had John Solomon on, and we showed you that clip yesterday, which is why you should always subscribe to this channel, because tomorrow everyone else will be reporting on what I'm reporting on today. I guess right. I'm seeing where the direction is going because we're all trying to win 2026. If you want to hear about it tomorrow, by all means, go somewhere else. If you want to hear about it today, subscribe. John Solomon made an interesting prediction that Trump will soon unveil evidence. And just so you guys know, this is the first time this evidence has been presented to the public, which I'm happy to see, that foreign powers meddled in the 2020 election, which will result in John Thune ultimately caving on the filibuster, and the Save America Act will get passed. Quote, I think Donald Trump is going to change the narrative in America. I think he's going to change some senators' minds with what he presents. He's going to start revealing some of the intelligence that was kept from the American people. So see, guys, anyone who claims that they gave you proof, they're lying. They did not give you proof. It was kept from us. And now they're going to bring you what was kept from the American people. And I'm very excited about that. And we're going to see that our foreign adversaries have monkeyed around with our election system more than we knew, more than anyone knew. And I think when senators realize their state could have been targeted, they're going to have a different debate in America. I think we're seeing some big, significant and troubling revelations about the vulnerabilities of our elections. The president is about to unveil that to the American people. Now, who's that? John Solomon and Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino with the biggest insider knowledge on the Trump administration. So I trust him, and I trust this information is good. Here's Anna Paulina with this haunting graphic. She says, the writing is on the wall. Just so you guys know, this is what I mean by you don't have a country if the SAVE Act doesn't pass. Failing to pass the SAVE Act now results in permanent one-party state. How does this work? Let's look together. Over here on the left, we're going to start resist other teams' agenda is what we do. Then we fundraise. Then we gain a majority. So the lobbyists are here in fundraise land is where they make their money. Then we gain majority. Then we allow a silent filibuster, which is always bad. This is politics as usual side over here. Then we get nothing done. That is, we fail to pass the SAVE Act. And then we lose the majority this fall. That's what's going to happen. And then we will not go up to resist the other team's agenda. We will go down to national, quote, no voter ID, unquote, law passes. So SAVE is the national voter ID law that must pass. If the Democrats win, they're going to pass the opposite law, which is there will be no voter ID for the entire country. You just heard it here first. That's Anna Paulina Luna saying she predicts that. And then you have a permanent one-party state down here, like you see in places like California. One-way exit ramp to one-party state, one-party country. That's the plan. That's why the SAVE Act must go through. So look, this is important, obviously, and we have to get this SAVE Act passed. I'm going to spend at least one episode a day on this. I'll continue it more today. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, you won't know about the live stream that's coming today at 5 p.m. Central every day, 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. You'll join my happy throng of people, and we will go over more of where we're at on the SAVE Act, the war in Iran, etc., all right here on Doug in Exile. Call chapter, phone number first pinned.
Okay, everybody. Oh, I think these, yeah, I don't know, I might just do one long show. I think 2 shows are getting me tired out. All right. Well, another night of intel, day intel. Thanks, mods. Carol, Lucy, Tim, Mighty Owen, KK. So, God bless everybody. Love all. Remember, please hit the like and sub to the backup channels in the description box, please. Thank you. All right. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off, Chico Dude. Another day of intel. Have a good night, everybody, and see what tomorrow brings.